I'm Edwin from the Constitutional Court of South Africa. I'm working on social justice and constitutional rights and the rule of law in South Africa. My project at Bellagio is to start work on a very personal book. It's a personal book that gives an account of the law in South Africa. It explains the rule of law, explains legal concepts like the separation of powers, the supremacy of the Constitution, concepts that every South African lives with, but which aren't always necessarily understood or well understood. And I use my own experiences. My experiences as a human rights lawyer in the 1980s, in the last decade of apartheid, my experiences as a white person growing up with white privilege in South Africa, which opened the door to a good high schooling and a university education and further scholarships for me, but a white person who unusually came from a very poor home. My experiences as a gay man in a world that was still fighting homosexuality and sexual orientation differentiation. My experiences as someone who survived HIV and is living on antiretrovirals. I use all these experiences to try to open up the rich virtues of our Constitution, its valuing of diversity, its according of health rights, of treatment rights, the big decision by the Constitutional Court that required President Mbeki to start making treatment available. I've just started writing about that this morning. So the book is not a legal book, and it's not a biography, but it's a book about legal concepts, and it's about legal concepts which are vital, I think, to our country, because if we lose our commitment to the values and aspirations of the Constitution, if we lose the rule of law, which is essential to our attaining those values and aspirations, then I think we will have gone very severely backwards in South Africa. So the book seeks to enlighten that vision through my personal experiences. I think what I'm hoping to add is an understandable explanation of quite powerful legal concepts that underlie a lot of political debate and contestation in South Africa, but often in themselves aren't well understood. What is the separation of powers? What does the rule of law mean? What does the supremacy of the Constitution mean? What does it mean to have judges who aren't elected, who give meaning to these values? There's no book that explains all of those things. There are dry legal textbooks, there are books of legal biography by colleagues of mine, but there's no book that tries systematically to explain these very fundamental concepts on which our new democracy is based, but to do so in a way that is understandable to a wide range of readers. I'd say there are a number of things that have extraordinarily accelerated my work and intensified it while I've been here. Of course, there are the magnificently beautiful surroundings, the extraordinary comfort and convenience of living in a beautiful place, of having wonderful meals provided for you, a room that is serviced. These things are very precious for all of us who are here in a busy life. But more importantly, even than those things, which are very important, is the serenity and focus that is available here. On the one hand, there's a regimentation of your life, and it's one that I, as a lawyer who likes system, values very much. Breakfast is at 8, lunch is at 1, tea is at 4, drinks are at 7, dinner is at 7:30 sharp and lasts until 8:30. And for the rest, there's nothing. No engagements, no duties, no meetings, no interruptions, no calls. So there's an extraordinary serenity and focus, and that has been something that I think most people here have almost never experienced. I've certainly never experienced it over a sustained period of several weeks. But the last thing that I'd mention is the quality of the living here. In between the long periods of reflection, focus, output and work, you have meal times, break times, and I look forward very much to those. I don't see them as interruptions to work. I see them as things to work towards, to reward myself with lunch or tea time or whichever it is. These are childish incentives which help me a great deal in the difficult and sometimes very painful process of writing. And in those breaks, there are quite extraordinary people. This isn't something that's compulsory to Bellagio. It's you are busy, you're distracted, you arrive at a mealtime, and suddenly you find yourself in the middle of a conversation that illuminates your work, your understanding of what is happening in South Africa, your understanding of what role the law has to play, your understanding of what a principle or a value or a human interest is. And to me, that's been the greatest enrichment of being here.